Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. Well, a super non-bingo-y rack here. So it's not a priority to play the J and the Z, which would benefit from vowels. So what I can do is play month, turning over a lot of tiles and setting up a good J and Z spot. I'm going with this. And I draw the Q, so 3 of the 4 high-scoring tiles are on my rack. Only 2 vowels, so I'm not going to be awash with options. But as the board stands, I can place my J and Z above the O of month. Month takes an S after it, no other hooks. I'm not aware of any 3-letter extensions for month. And, well, G and F, not great tiles either. So again, I'm thinking, what is my priority in terms of what I get rid of? I think this rack is still too good to change, certainly with the Z and J spot as it stands. And opponent changes. Fantastic. So, what can I do here? I've got Zo, but not Zoo. I've got Joe. I've got Goof, which turns over more tiles. Both Joe and Zoe are going to set up an ON spot, which is, well, it's good for the F, which I have. So I think I go with this. Is there any reason for preferring Joe? No. And are there any alternate words which end OJ or OZ? No, I am going with this. Great, another vowel. And another high-scoring tile. Very strange start to this game. I think it may have been one of my recent games where I just had 1-point tiles for about half the game. This is the complete opposite. 86 points for opponent. And of course, Joe would not have allowed that. However, opponent would have had Staddle and months. So he certainly would be bingoing. Now, what can I do here? Zoe only takes an S. Do I change? I feel not. No W for wax. But column 12 onto this E. Does that provide anything? And I have Gay-Jo in row E, which again is going to be better than changing. What do I have onto this E? Well, nothing great. Still 4 U's to come. Wow, Gay-Jo puts a vowel under this double word square. I could also play it in row I. Nothing down from the H. Nothing down in column 8 onto the A, I don't think. Through an O, I would have Puja. No, I think I am going to go with this. Gay-Jo 426. Well, I draw another high-scoring tile in the W. I still feel this is too good to change. For example, I have Pones and Staddles for a decent score. I have an I and an N for Chi and Chin, plus the S. Chin at the moment plays in row F. Fantastic. Will that stay available? And Cheese and Zoes in row I. Wow, and I do actually lead at the moment, despite opponent's massive bingo. J takes nothing in front, so opponent is slightly hampered in row D. Just 19 points. Fantastic. Wei takes a T in front. I don't have one. My chin spot has been taken. AGI, not good. Nowhere for fakir. I would need a floating A and R. Just wondering whether to play pone or pones, or whether to jettison the Q with the S. Certainly better to play the S than just chi. It's contributing about 15 points to this total. 42 points is huge, and I've still got pone to give me options next turn. But what about chins and staddles? Getting rid of one more consonant. 36 points, only 6 fewer points. Quite tempting. 3 consonants is much better than 4. Even though I'm taking out the N for pone, I'm increasing my chances of drawing a vowel. Yeah. Now, are there any other chin or chins spots? No, I don't think so. I'm going with this. And I draw the U, having had the Q on my rack for about 3 turns. But this is quite good. I draw 2 vowels. So the rack is looking slightly more balanced. F, U and W are a deadly trio, which means I'm looking to play off at least 2 of them, and I don't think I can play off all 3. But there may be a spot for few. No I for the Q. But opponent, if they have an I, may be tempted to play in column 14, and I've got big tiles to score in column 15. Now, no T for tway, and no other tile goes in front of way. But row C quite hot. Few actually plays in that spot. Wow, that would be nice. And it remains available. Fantastic. So few for 37 points, and here I could put the S on the end, but it's worth more on my rack. So, any better spot? I don't think so. I'm going with this. Well, no E for a bingo. And F, P and U are also non-bingo-y. But this is a balanced rack and I should have options, and I've got the I for QI. So I could play fur, chi and kia. I could stick an S on the end of that to limit column 15 options. Now, do I really not have a bingo? I don't have a 7. Where are the floaters? What about the T? No. H, no. M, no. I've got the OUS ending, but that leaves frit, which is non-bingo-y. Now, what have I created at the top? Wag only takes an S, which I've got. So, wow, I do actually have ifs at the top, which is going to be a big score. And the rack lever poor isn't terrible. Yeah, that's going to be over 40 points, which is 2/3 of a bingo. And fur would be about 30. Uni is good. Well, I've only got one I. Now, I have a 40-point lead. So I have survived the initial onslaught of non-bingo-y racks. And I'll be able to keep scoring with this rack, getting at least 30 points. Now, column 8 quite hot onto this A, especially if I could get a scoring tile doubled. Not seeing anything with this rack. I have the pro and the for prefix. Just wondering about perfusion. That's a 9-letter play, and I don't think there are any 2-letter sets. Opponent taking quite a while with this play. Still 2 blanks to come. Is opponent about to bingo? Key takes an S in front. Zo takes an O after it, so I could have an L-O-T play. Well, I actually have plot as it stands. What about a flot word? No. Do I have a non-bingo beginning plot, which gets doubled twice? Don't think I do. But what does plot score? 34 points. Wow. So, quite a few scoring options available with this rack. 1 S to come and 2 blanks. So, if, or wow, opponent goes in that spot for 34, and I'm just wondering, I can play of or if here, and is the S worth more on my rack? What does it contribute? It contributes 10, which is pretty much what it's contributing to my rack, and there's only 1 S to come after this, so I think I will hang on to this. It's quite useful for months and zoes. Now, of or if. A lot of I's to come, fewer O's to come. Let me switch this round. Although, in general, I prefer the I to the O, I think with these other tiles, PRSU, I prefer the O. O goes better with you than I. And there are fewer O's to pick up. Yeah, I am going with this. And I draw an I, so that has worked out. And I've drawn the final high-scoring tile, so I've had all 4 of them. Oh, wow. Great bingo by opponent, and another 80-pointer. Opponent goes into the lead. A ton of floaters. Not seeing anything with an X, which is the most promising. Yeah. So, what can I do? Is there a way of getting rid of X and U? Yes, there is. And I'm leaving the E's alone, which are good floaters. 35 points, a good score. Pretty decent 5-letter set. Still a lot of E's to come, which would definitely benefit this rack leave. Nowhere better for the X that I can see. I am going with this. And I dodged the E's, but this feels fairly balanced. I'm not seeing a 7. Let me consider the floaters. How about the E? No. How about the T? No. G? No. R? H? No. And this is, well, this is the first rack I've seen which I really don't like the look of. I don't feel I'll have a lot of options. I've got the P for score. I'd certainly like to play off the I. I'd like to play off the U. And Payu is a word. Does it play anywhere? Pun is good. I could play just PI and pun. There's only 1 U to come. I also have PI next to metering, but that's taking out useful floaters. I have PI in column 14, but there's quite a few N's to come for chin. So I don't think that's great. I have Payu and pose. 11 points. I could turn over tiles by playing Euripi, E-U-R-I-P-I. Quite tempting. 16 points, not providing any vowels next to scoring squares. And I'm turning over tiles with a blank to come. Well, I'm also drawing 5 random tiles. Yeah, the A's are useful as well, and so many A's and E's to come. Well, opponent takes out one option for pie. I just wonder about playing pie up here. So what if opponent plays in column 15? There are very few high-scoring tiles left. The most damage he could achieve would be a play of piney, placing the Y on this double letter square. Well, this is 19 points. This is 11. I prefer this. I'm not creating that danger, and I'm getting rid of this wretched U with quite a few vowels to come. And this rack goes quite well with the E's. So, can I play Paiu anywhere else? No, I don't think so. So, I am going with this. Well, I do have an E. And the C is good. The Y isn't. The T looks... Oh, wow. Fantastic bingo for opponent. 70 points. Goes into a 90-point lead. Wow. So, what can I do here? Wow, still 31 tiles in the bag. How much time do I have? 11 minutes. Gosh. Well, I need to keep the board open. There are floating E's and T's. There's the N and the G. Am I sure I don't have a bingo here? I'm looking at the N and the G. No, I could play Yince. 34 points, half a bingo. I could play Yin. Well, so many A's to come for Ayin. Where are the scoring spots for my Y? Bearing in mind I'd like to keep lanes open. Posy. So I could do this. I can play Yo, which doesn't interrupt any bingo lanes at all, apart from row G. And Cries is really good, and it certainly goes well with the T. I think opponent's going to be more bothered about shutting down this G. And I don't want to turn over tiles, given that I trail by so much. Yeah, and although this is a lot less than Yince, this is a much better rack leave. I am going with this. Well, is this good? I have Viscera. I have a bunch of 7s on my rack. Do they play? Possibly not. So what do I have with the T? And what about the E? I think Viscera is not good. Viscera doesn't take an E. Does it have an anagram? And I'm considering E and T because I think opponent may play towards the right-hand side of the board, and he does. So the only floater is the I for a word beginning with S, not seeing anything. Viscerate is a 9. So this rack plus a T. No, I'm not seeing anything. And what about with an E? That also looks promising. No. Okay, so what am I going to do? Still 9 minutes, still 24 tiles to come, but I trail by over 100, which is more than a bingo. G is another floater I haven't considered. Not seeing anything. Have I exhausted the floaters on the board and any 7-letter lanes? I think so. Can I play my V at the top? Yes. I could play there. Yeah, this has merit. I was looking at the A's, and they've shrunk to just 3. But this is over 30 points, which is pretty handy when you're chasing a 100-point deficit. Opponent can't play in column 15 because there are no 2-letter V words. If he plays in row A, he'll be creating a 7-letter lane. Just pausing in case there is a bingo through this T. Well, I haven't seen it, so there for 32. And I draw the second V, and duplicate C and I, so that's all pretty grim. If opponent doesn't play in row A, I have 5, but this rack has suddenly tilted miles away from being bingo-y, which doesn't bode well for my prospects, given that I need a bingo to win. So what am I going to do if 5 is blocked? Really like to play VI and C. C is a good bingo-y tile, double C far less so. If I had duplicate V rather than duplicate C, I would have civvies. Not that there's anywhere for that. Okay, great. Opponent has not taken out all lanes. There's the floating E of metering, and he's created a new floating E. But perhaps better I can... He's only scored 17 points. I'm getting 42 for Vive. Is there a way of playing off the C? I could play Sive, but I think double C is better than CV. I think Viceive is good, but that's not better. That's just burning the I and the S, which help this rack. I'm going with this. And I draw a Y. I feel that I've had a lot of the scoring tiles in this game, which does happen. So no bingo on this rack, and nothing with a floating E. But I trail by less than a bingo, so there is some hope, especially if I can keep lanes open. And at the moment there's row O beginning with G, there's the E of metering, there's the E of eluted, but I'm sure opponent will have in mind to take those out. So if I can play off C and Y, the rack leave of cries is really good. Okay, 20 for opponent. And opponent takes out a lot of the lanes, doesn't create a new one, so that's a good play. Only scores 20 points, so there is still some hope with this G. Plus, can I now create a new lane? I want to play off C and Y, so I could play K, I could play Cly, but they do not create new lanes. 7 tiles in the bag, all massively bingo-y. And I'm reluctant to play any more than C and Y. But if I don't create a new lane, opponent just plays through this I, for example, and just extinguishes all lanes on the board. What about Psyker? Is this good? If it is, it's 33 points, it's creating lanes, and although I'm losing the good C tile, it's available as a floater. I'm going with this, and it's not good. What was I thinking of? What a shame. If only that was good. What was I confusing that with? Okay. Seeker, probably C-E-C-A. But the Y is non-bingo-y and has to go. Just need to create one new lane. Otherwise it's just so frustrating to have no lanes. What can I just play onto this A? 5 minutes on my clock, so loads of time. I can play Korea, but that retains the Y. I have to get rid of the Y. I think I have to get rid of one of the C's. And I want to create a new lane. The R is the last one. The I is the last one. So the rack as a whole is good. I have ricey on my rack. What about a play through this L? Four minutes on my clock. Seven vowels left, so it's balanced. Pium is good. Well, what about playing Cray? I think Cray takes an S. Let me just check that. Right, 3 minutes on my clock. Let me check Scray. That is good. So this is a super gambly play, but I feel I have to gamble. I trail by 60. So rack leave decent. If opponent doesn't have the S, then column 1 is a lane. He may not know that Cray takes an S. The C is a floater. But I'm achieving the minimum aim for this play, which is to have at least 2 lanes on the board, which opponent can't block both. 2 minutes on my clock. So I've got the G, not massively useful. I've got the I for an S bingo in column 13, and I've got columns 1 and 2. Let's see what happens. And I draw all vowels, of course. So, wretched, wretched drawing. And I don't draw the final S, so opponent might have a monstrous bingo. Wow, 74 pointer. He did have the S for Cray. And this is not my game. Okay, so what to do here? Wow, no bingos at all for me this game. And only one play of over four letters long. The vagaries of Scrabble. So, surely column 1 is going to be my best spot. Not good. Co's certainly is. So I've got Co's for 50. Yeah, I think there may be something a little bit better in column 1, but it's certainly not going to be winning. I actually may get another turn, in which case I probably should have given a little more thought to a 2 move out. Well, I have Naoi in column 14. Do I have a second out? Nothing with the G. Iota blocked. Naoi not available in row N. And opponent goes out. And the final score, 401 for me, 504 for opponent, a winning margin of 103 points, so well done to opponent. Let's see what I missed. What a game. Lots of unbalanced rack, no bingos, but still over 400 points. So it was me to go first. John for 28. I play month for the same score. I prefer my play. But I don't think there's very much between those. Opponent with a ton of vowels. Changes. And I play Zoe for 44, which I think is fine. Great bingo by opponent of Staddle. And I play Gage for 26. Jape C12. I don't like that. It's placing a J next to this double word square. And the O doesn't go well with the Q. My opponent plays Way. And now I7 cheese. I thought about that and then went with chins for fewer points, but with a better rack leave, 3 consonants rather than 4. 28 for opponent, and now I still lead by 1. And yeah, few, that was my play. Nice rack. Oh, and Miss Bingo. So D7 through K and I. Well, not surprisingly, that was missed. Very hard to identify a bingo lane when it's a 9-letter lane through a K. But it was there. Now, I thought about ifs, but preferred if because only a 10-point difference in score and the S is worth 8 to 10. And I thought the S was synergetic with OP, R and U. And now great bingo by opponent of metering. And I have drawn the X, which I think stymies my bingo prospects. So I play Zoo for 35. K7. Pox was available. Retaining the U, taking out bingo lanes, or taking out more bingo lanes. And only 7 more points, so I prefer my play. My opponent plays Mo. And now, what do? I play Payu for 11. So pure A14. Possibly worth doing. It's a lot more points. Quite volatile. What does Payu leave? It leaves Sour. Sour, yeah, tricky. I don't know, pure is volatile. But I do have an S for sticking on the end of Kier. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. You need to simulate those to identify which was best. Oh wow, another... No, not another Miss Bingo. Opponent spots this one, retying for 70. And now, suddenly, I do trail by a significant margin. But 31 tiles left, so I was optimistic that I would be able to get back into the game with at least 1 bingo. A foolish thought. So, I'm looking to get rid of the Y. I thought about playing Yince, but that's racking and creating an easy scoring spot and taking out bingo lanes. So I play Yo instead for 16 fewer points, retaining the lanes, retaining a better rack leave. I like that. Opponent plays Arg. Wow, I was just waiting for a bingo to pop up here. This I felt was jolly close to a bingo rack. A14 there, that was my play. Opponent plays Eluted, and I have this wretched draw of a V and another C. So I play Vive for 42. Opponent struggling with vowels, plays Boulder. Oh my word, missed bingo. I won, where's this? Through L and E, Cycleries. Wow. And that would have made a difference. That would have taken me into 420. Wow, and emptied the bag. Gosh. Didn't consider L and E. And CCY should prompt thoughts of cycle. Wow. What an opportunity. Well done if you'd spotted that. And this was when I was agonising trying to find a CY spot. Well, there was a fantastic one in row I. Now, I play Cry. Opponents... Yeah, and if I played Cyclories, opponent wouldn't have had Canteens because the C would have been one square too low. And I don't think you would have had anything through the Y, so yeah. I think I may have been favourite to win. So opponent does have Canteens, but only Canteens. And Case and Cose are all that's available. And opponent goes out with Lipin. So... what a game. Absolutely amazing stuff. Loads and loads of heavy tiles at the beginning, but I managed to stay level with opponent. Then he zooms off into the distance. I'm struggling to catch him with bingo-y rack leaves, but then poor draws. And then finally, right towards the end, I miss a bingo, which could well have won me the game, but difficult to see, a 9-letter word, but it was there. So absolutely amazing stuff. Well done once again to opponent on his victory. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.